Hello, Mother Russia. It is the 2-minute Terminator with me, Demetrius McKinleyus, and my co-host, Ivan Danko. Shut up, Ivan. Hi, everyone. It's Ethan McKinley. We're actually calling from Russia today. Actually, there's a big what's happened to the music? I just paused it. It's episode 29 of the 2-minute Terminator. We are here doing minutes 56 to 58 in the movie.
Well done, Ethan.
It begins with shots fired as Arnold unloads all over a SWAT team. It's not that kind of movie.
Birds tweeting.
Arnie playing the T-800 empties clip over the face, neck and chest of various professional stuntmen. And ends with your fiance. I don't know who says that, because when I logged all the minute, it doesn't.
It doesn't end there.
It doesn't end like that. Admittedly, there's a bit of a... Oh, here we go.
It ends with the TX chasing after the... Oh, my God.
If you are enjoying the bumper music for today's show, it is from an action-adventure film from the late 80s.
Red Heat.
Red Heat with James Belushi and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Are you a fan of that movie?
It's not his best.
Oh, I don't know. It's in the...
It's all right. It's not his best.
It's in the B's.
Really?
Yeah. Jim Belushi's great in that.
Yeah, but...
You're not familiar with the Jim Belushi canon, are you?
No.
Yeah, you see. Jim Belushi is, of course, James Belushi, his brother of John Belushi.
John Belushi's amazing.
I don't know. Quite like Jim.
Oh,
But
I'm not...
You've
yeah,
not
but
seen
I'm not.
K9.
No.
You've not seen K9 2. Well, that might be
Clearly not.
K911 or 911.
Is this like a robot dog or something?
No, basically, it's Red Heat, but Arnold
Without
Schwarzenegger
Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
is not there anymore. It's a dog. A German Shepherd, I believe.
It's a dog.
Which they changed the name to Alsatian, as we discussed in the first season of the Terminator
I told you that.
podcast. I think because of the Nazis, they changed it from German Shepherd.
Yeah, to be racially sensitive. What the
Well, wouldn't they call it German Sheepdog?
It's political correctness gone mad.
If it was herding Jews into an oven, you'd call it a German Sheepdog, wouldn't you? Sorry about that. There are
you accused me of
non-Gentile listeners.
putting the show at jeopardy.
Well, the soundtrack is to Red Heat 1988, directed by Walter Hill. And all right, the Principal. Have you seen The Principal?
No.
He rides a Harley.
Ooh.
He's a disgraced teacher. The only job he can get in town is in the shittiest school in the district, and he goes in there, and
I've seen him in
goes
something else.
he goes in and he cleans the place up, and he's got a bike called El Principal, which is on his helmet or his gas tank. I can't remember.
Sold. I think I've seen him in more than just Red Heat, but I don't know him that well. But don't get me wrong, Red Heat, it's all right. I'm just saying it's not my favourite film. That's all.
Okay. Fine.
So we've discussed the music we're playing.
Yeah, we're playing the soundtrack to Red Heat by James Horner.
Now shall we hit the music?
Yeah.
Howdy, stranger.
Don't say howdy, stranger, to me.
Hi, I'm Chief Master Sergeant William Candy.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Now, this music is obviously very reminiscent of the Commando soundtrack, also by James Horner. It's got
God
that
rest his soul, he died this year, didn't he?
he died last year on
Last
June, I think. Plane crash. They just found a burning
They
plane.
do happen.
And when they checked the body, they were like, "Oh, this is James Horner. He's got a conductor's baton in his pocket." He didn't really. I just made that up.
I was about to go, really?
This is very Commando though, except they haven't put the kind of steel drum South
Do you not
American
think that
kind of
sounds
feel
a
to
little
it.
bit conspiracy? James Horner's death. Are we sure that he didn't discover some
there is a lot of
illegal
backlash against
paedophile
Avatar.
ring?
There's a lot of backlash against Avatar, isn't there?
Yeah.
Those people say Avatar's rubbish.
What?
Oh yeah. Well, basically, the sequel to Avatar, they've moved back another year. It was going to come out.
What could people possibly have an issue with the panpipes?
It's not. It's the film in general, which I don't understand. So we go, oh, he ripped off Pocahontas and he ripped off Fern Gully. But like, aren't all films a rip off of other films?
Yeah, but that one was when I saw it. I thought that is a hell of a lot like Fern Gully.
But
I didn't make the correlation with Pocahontas. I won't lie.
Well, it's more Pocahontas than Fern Gully.
I've only seen Pocahontas like once.
Pocahontas is a man who's meant to kind of go in and move the Indians off the... I think this is the downtown New York theme. It's meant to convey that seedy back
sexy
alley
sax.
sexy sax.
Yeah.
Wheeler dealers, people dealing drugs, prostitution,
Synth,
all kinds of
sax and
vice.
cowbells.
When I listen to this, I
Love
think
'em.
all kinds of vice. Yeah, no, people don't like it, do they? Like I said, John Smith is the Jake Sully character. He goes in there to move the Indians off the land, falls in love with Pocahontas, and goes, "Sorry, mate, I can't do this anymore." I think Avatar was unfairly lambasted with that stick, because I think Star Wars is a pastiche on, you know, the Saturday
don't
morning
know.
serials. Indiana Jones is a pastiche on the Saturday morning serials.
What are the Saturday morning serials, Ethan?
Terminator was sued by Harlan Ellison, who wrote a film for a script for the Outer Limits, the 60s TV show called Soldier, and my favourite title of all time, The Demon with the Glass Hand, which is all about time travel, a future war, coming back to save humanity. James Cameron got successfully sued, as we discussed in season 2 of the 2-Minute
Why do
Terminator.
you keep pointing at me
Because I like making my point.
with your arms?
It's not a
and
visual
fingers?
medium, admittedly, even though we have a YouTube channel, which is ironic. I windmill with my arms when I'm explaining stuff, listeners. So, what have we gleaned from this magical clip? In fact, before we do that, a listener has written in.
We've got a bag.
James
and it's
Spaldner,
full of mail.
and a male listener has written in via mail and sent a letter. Go, Ellie.
You got a she-mail.
It's on the Facebook wall.
Hi guys. Sorry it's been a bit, but this fast pace of shows is harder to keep up with. Good on you.
Hang
for
on,
that.
stop the letter. What's that supposed to mean?
It means we're just pumping them out so fast now. He can't keep up.
But were we that bad? We did them nearly every day. And if
Yeah,
we
but now we're like regular. Maybe not every single day, but if we miss one, we generally do like 3. Sounds like the things that come out your bum. Which apparently is just from juicing. Not juicing, douching. It's such horseshit.
once a month, douche yourself out,
It's
listeners.
not. The other day it smelled like a whole casket of baby shit had just been emptied into my bedroom. It was so bad. Look at your face. We all do it.
We were doing a show, and I happened to bring with me, before we did the show, the machine that makes the food for RoboCop. Okay?
Tastes like baby food.
I tested it out, the machine, and I got some on my trousers. So,
I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
see any. I just smelt it. Was
It's basically a rudimentary paste which keeps all these bio systems running. I can't help if it smelled.
like baby
I've
food.
washed my shirt, and that's the end of it. Now, before we start talking about pumping out more food for the intergalactic crime fighter RoboCop, what does that mean? We continue with the letter.
with the big sack. Good on you for that. Bad on me for being way behind on the topics. Anyway, I wanted to touch on a few things. From the
Topic is a UK candy bar, by the way.
I was
Chocolate.
going to say with nuts in it.
I think he means topic as in new subject, though.
Anyway, I wanted to touch on a few things from the casket cache.
Cachet.
When you listed the inventory of weapons, there were a few
Inventory.
inconsistencies. What did I say?
Or inventory. You went inventory.
Inventory. Whatever. Do you want to read
Am I
this?
fucking up the flow of the letter?
You read it.
No, it's fine.
I always read the mailbag. Go on.
An act prepares.
Oh, God.
Hi, guys. Sorry it's been a bit.
Read it
but
with an American accent.
Hi, guys. Sorry it's been a
Southern.
bit. Hi, guys. Sorry it's been a bit. But this faster pace of shows is hard to keep up with. Good on you for that. Bad on me for being way behind on the topics. Anyway, I wanted to touch on a few things from the casket cache. When you listed the inventory of weapons, there are a few inconsistencies. I looked up that picture online. I'll post it so you know what I'm referencing. And where there are a couple of things that we said that were there, or you said that really weren't. For instance, there aren't any law rockets, LAW, and a 69 RPG launcher is there. It is. And the one that Ani shoots from the front seat of the hearse, that's the one. And it's rockets. But I don't see any ALUW launchers. I can't even say that. Light anti-tank weapon. Oh, that's what it means. What do you call that? A palindrome? Or
You sound like a mixture between a
acronym.
southern person and Twinkie.
Who's Twinkie?
We know who Twinkie is. No, it's not Twinkie. What's her name?
Right.
The film.
Tootsie.
Tootsie.
Oh, Dorothy Michaels. I'll kick you right in your mouth chauvinist ass. Now, I have to do my scene. Law anti-tank weapon. The launchers are short, extendable, one-shot portable launchers designed to be shot and disposed of by individual soldiers.
Look how much there is for you to read.
I'll post a picture of one of them as well. Also, you said that the bandolier was 40mm stun grenades, but those are definitely HE, high explosive rounds, just like the ones Arnie was shooting at the T-1000 in T2. Well, he only shot one, to be fair. So also, where am I? Regarding those grenade launchers, the SL6 rotary launcher, not the MK19 launcher that you read from that list. The MK19 is a crew-served weapon, meaning handled by at least 2 people. It's like a giant metal cock. Now, that is usually placed on the ground via a tripod or mounted to a vehicle.
This is amazing.
I can also see the carry handle and muzzle of an HK G36C, which I don't think you mentioned before. Now, that was a great call on UMP. What the fuck is that? Only being in circulation during 1999, and being that the coffin during 1997, it could never be in there. I never would have sensed that. I never would have seen that, rather. The only thing I could say that it being possible is the only thing I could say.
Oh my god!
I'm losing. I come glasses
Special
on.
Forces type.
The only thing I could say that being possible is that one of the special forces types that Sarah's associated with down in Mexico would have had one before the rest of the world had one. Maybe he spirited it away from a military base. I just added that myself. These types of weapons are designed and tested around those who those type of military These types of weapons are designed and tested around those type of military operators before the rest of the world knows about them. A bit like the stealth technology of Area 51. Oh my god. He's killing me, this motherfucker. Also, Ellie, to answer your question, no, the coffin being shot would not blow up on Ollie's shoulder.
Pause. I've now discovered since then another reason why it wouldn't have exploded. But carry on. Tootsie.
Everything in the casket would not explode. Even if a bullet were to manage to get through the outer layers of the casket and hit with almost full velocity, which wouldn't happen. Almost everything in there is meant to be carried by an individual soldier who is going to be shot at. It would defeat the purpose if a single bullet from the enemy could hit something the guy was carrying and explode. Him and everyone else around him. Everything in there needs to be of a specific explosive train to react in sequence to produce their explosive reaction. Even the 40mm rounds of the C4 blocks, the 40mm rounds need to reach a certain velocity before they will arm. We call it army proofing. It is so brand new. It is so a brand new grunt doesn't blow himself up by accidentally hitting the wall directly in front of him, instead of hitting the target downrange. C4 is army proof as well. I'm talking like President Bush here, Club W. As well as the actual, quite impressive. Oh, hang on, start again. It's actually quite impressive in that way. You can throw it around, maul it with your hands just like silly putty. And you could shoot it with a bullet. If you're a bit off your rocker, which we clearly all are because we're Americans. Now, You can even put it on the ground and set it on fire. But it will just burn until it's gone. However, if you were to set it on fire and then throw it around or shoot it with a gun, they'd be hosing you off the walls and putting you in a sandwich baggie before you wake. Okay, so final note. Ethan, speaking of the legality of these weapons, aside from the explosive rounds and the RPG-7, everything here can be legally owned by an American with a clean record. You can be properly investigated and given what is called a Class 3 license here to own automatic weapons. And Ellie, I would estimate that in that casket it would cost somewhere between $50,000 The 30 caliber machine gun alone is anywhere from $1,500 to $20,000. All right, this book is long enough. I'm down southern again. More another time. Bye, guys. Oh, congrats on the new listeners. If you build it, they will come. Well, Spodner, if you tell more of your friends about it, they will also listen too. Thank you for your letter, sir, and thank you for serving. This is President Bush.
That was absolutely amazing. I videoed some of that
The
stuff.
accent kind of went all over the place, here, didn't it?
It was so good. So the way you pronounce some of those words
Club
were
W.
amazing.
And
There is
George
actually
W. Bush.
another bit of bag mail. Let's have a goose.
Goosey Gander. Yeah, Nichols, 3 AM. He's not one of our favourites.
Oh, so this is a picture of the LAW launcher.
Yeah, it's the one you go, you pull it out. Who is that now? He's looking at it and he presses. Oh, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Judge Reinhold gets one out the back of that truck. And
You're right,
they're
it's a little bit gassy.
big gas. It's the front end this time. Judge Reinhold gets it out of that truck in Beverly Hills Cop 2, doesn't he? And he's reading the instructions. He goes, "Ooh, pull this! Wow!" And then he presses the button and the thing goes off and it blows up the truck. Yeah, well,
Ethan, you did very well.
in answer to that letter, all the information I took from this was from Terminator Wicker and various other sources discussing Terminator 3. So I'm only merely going literally by the production notes of a clearly retarded, not military trained or served person who got some probably cushy job as an intern with a film company. His dad was probably a producer, never seen a gun. Yeah, and well, apart from the ones his dad obviously stuffs in hookers' mouths when he's like weeing on their face in the toilet cubicle, which was a favourite of Don Simpson apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Get a hooker on loads of coke, make a drink out of your toilet while you wee on her. Piss
Oh,
on
is
her.
that bog washing?
I don't know what it is, but that was kind of his thing apparently. Don Simpson.
Don't knock it until you've tried it, man.
They did a book on Don Simpson about, is it called High Concept? And it's about his like really excessive life as this egotist producing partner of Jerry Bruckheimer, of course. They started with Flashdance, Beverly Hills Cop.
Do you know what? You say you tell me things, and then 2 days later you go, Ellie, I told you that a couple of days ago.
Yes.
I think you overload me with so much information. I'm just like, what are you even telling me?
Well, people are people, Ellie.
I have to give you a high five for that.
Depeche Mode. Yeah, right. First bit of trivia for this.
Can I speak?
Yeah. You made some notes.
I've made lots of notes.
Okay, roll.
So, I thought that if...
Get on with your notes, girl.
I thought that if the cachet... the casket cachet... was full of weapons, that it might explode. Obviously, Spalding said that this would not happen, but we've seen in this next 2 minutes that actually it was filled with John Connor. Arnold just throws the casket into the back of a hearse, and John Connor comes crashing out. Look how thin the walls of that coffin are. There's no way that with all of those SWAT team shooting at it, none of those bullets would have penetrated it.
Well, if you look where his hand is on the side of the thing, and we're actually looking at an image from 56 minutes 32 seconds. John's just getting out the back.
Monkey getting out of the coffin.
He's getting out of the coffin, basically. Yes, of course. But if you look at the coffin side that he's holding onto, it's about an inch thick. Now, it's obviously not going to be solid metal, but Spalding's convinced that insulated coffin with like what are they made out of? It's not steel, is it? It'd be some sort of aluminum or aluminium, as we say in England.
It looks like plastic.
Well, he thinks that nothing get through. The big bugbear from the last episode that I mentioned, or 2 episodes back, with the pre-death done trivia that I did, which was 2 shows early. All those guns are in there.
What, under him?
Yeah. So how does he get in under the guns? Because the guns literally filled the coffin pretty much to the top. Now, there is obviously a space in the lid of the coffin because it's domed. But apart from that, where would he go? So that's my little bit of a...
Where would he go?
That's my slight goof, basically.
Well, yeah, I just thought... I don't know. I'm still not convinced that none of the bullets would have... The amount of times that got shot... I don't know. I'm just not convinced.
Yeah, and also you bring up, like, there must be different calibers of weapons that the Special Forces uses. Obviously, I'm sure Spaldner knows, the listener that wrote in. You know, that probably whatever the SWAT or the...
not convinced, mate.
The law enforcement officers use.
Also, so the SWAT team see them go into the hearse, and they're sat there, and they're having a nice little conversation. The SWAT are still firing, and yet they don't actually approach the hearse. They don't seem to get any closer. They don't surround it. The back window's been smashed through, although if we look here in this particular scene, it almost looks like the window's still there.
Yes.
But there's like
the window is
open,
still there. There's
reflectivity
on it.
Yeah,
there's
open. They could open fire on him.
They're still firing on the hearse as all this is happening. The only protection John's got, which is on his left side, is the lid of the coffin.
Exactly. If they'd just gone behind, they could have shot him in the head.
But yeah, no, I would have stayed at the coffin till we were clear of danger.
Exactly. Did you have anything you wanted to say particularly about this image that we're looking at? Because I'm ready to move on.
No, it just looks like a mini chapel.
So if we carry on playing, I'm going to turn it down. Oh, this is where we first find out that Brewster's actually John's future wife. So quite a
my dear,
moment.
I do hope he's not a friend of yours.
And that he's going to have children. That's terrifying for anybody. And then as the hearse drives past, I've noticed it says Valley of Peace. And I thought that was quite similar to how the previous films, whenever you saw the Terminator driving a cop car, there'd be some slogan which would be a massive oxymoron of everything that was actually just happening. So I thought that this was quite similar to that in that, obviously, Valley of Peace, it's been shot to bits, it's been driven by a Terminator.
What's the one in the second one? To Protect and Serve, which is on the side of the police car.
Protect and Serve, yeah.
Interestingly, in the first Transformers film, I can't remember the name of the Transformer that assumes the shape of a police car.
Right.
But on the side of his police car, it says to punish and enslave.
Nice. That's the first decent thing I've heard about Transformers. Yeah, so that's that.
First
also,
one's okay.
I'm just not a big fan, and I'm not a big fan of Megan Fox.
Is oxymoron something in opposition to what's happening or being said?
Yeah.
A paradox, if you will.
It's like a literature term.
A paradoxical.
They'd put, like, I don't know, say it was a boiling hot ice cream. It's physically impossible. The two words that are next to each other are complete opposites.
Or a straight Catholic priest.
Yeah, that's an oxymoron.
Okay.
Clues in the name. So the next part of this 2 minutes that we see, Brewster is running through the graveyard.
Mrs. Brewster.
Now, why has nobody thought, I don't know what I'll do. You know that hostage that we all just kind of risked our lives to go and save? Should we not follow her? See that she's okay?
Yeah, but to be fair,
I'm aware that they're shooting at a Terminator.
They just had their asses kicked by the Terminator.
Well, no, they didn't, because he didn't shoot any of them.
No, but he's disabled enough equipment and vehicles to disable the team.
Lives lost 000.
Imagine while that's still going on as well, he's creating some perimeter fire for her to escape, covering her, just shooting the place up. They've got their hands full with the Terminator.
But she's gone completely the opposite direction, because she was behind the ambulance, and she ran off a completely different way. So he's not covering her at all. He's covering his own ass and John's, whereas she just goes running off. And there's a whole SWAT team there and police, and yet no one seems to be tracking where she's going.
It's him trying to find her, isn't it?
Just seemed a bit ridiculous.
By the way, do you know the other actors who appear in the Terminator films apart from Arnold?
Okay, I'm sorry, say it again.
All 3 Terminator films, apart from Arnold, who else appears?
Silberman.
Yeah, played by Earl Boen. See in that conversation. Strangely though, in Genesis, and I don't know why they didn't do this, is Volkovich was meant to be in it.
Oh, okay. What
which I think would have been Lance Henriksen.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't die in the thing. That's the guy that was played by J.K. Simmons in Terminator Genisys.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons is he plays Peter Parker's boss in Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson. He's really good as that.
Okay.
He was the guy I remember from 1984. They shot at the police station. My God, you haven't aged.
I remember now.
Because I need some answers because we're fighting an intergalactic future war with robots. He's like, that's good enough for me. And he uncuffs her. Him.
Yeah. That was a really weird inclusion.
Well, I think it would have made more sense had it been, and it would have tied it better to the films had it been Lance Henriksen.
Yeah, no, it would have been.
Having said that, if you are going to go that far down the road with it, why not have Bill Paxton with the two guys playing punks, just de-age them? So that there's like that weird Green Day looking band they had instead.
It was so bad. Yeah, so
you liked it?
no,
Genisys?
The actors they chose for the punks. That's what I'm talking about.
By the way, here's one for Spalding. The Terminator holding a cache of weapons hidden inside Sarah's coffin, right? The coffin was lightweight, but still very, very heavy. The scene, this is in real life when they were filming it, the scene was even more difficult for Schwarzenegger because the weapon he was firing at the time was extremely heavy. Even for someone like him. A harness holding it up was digitally erased to help him to film the scene, basically. Another thing that made it difficult was Schwarzenegger's jacket weighed about 40 pounds, too. Can we say what it really is? And he was just well into his 50s when he did this, so it might be difficult. I think you can see it's on wires anyway. Sorry, please continue.
Not at all.
He had a hard time carrying his big tool.
Probably call a spade a spade. So we see Brewster running through the graveyard. She sees an approaching police car, and she starts smiling already. And then she thinks Fiance gets out the car, which is obviously the TX, has the creepiest smile on his face. She starts running towards him.
He's very much Tobey Maguire. That's the same face Tobey Maguire has in all the films. Whatever emotion Tobey Maguire's trying to convey, he does that.
Ugh.
He looks like Harry Enfield. He's going.
So before the TX starts to change into her female form, Brewster's face drops. Her face starts to drop before the transformation takes place. So it's just like, okay, well, she looks suspicious already. How would she think that, considering it's her fiance walking towards her?
Technically not the actor's fault, because this you can control in an edit. So really it's the director and editor's fault.
Faux pas director. Second of all, I think it was a massive mistake that the TX decided to start changing this early, because if she'd waited up until the point where Brewster had run up to her and given her a hug, that would have been mission complete.
Yeah.
So that was done too quickly. And again, this is meant to be a superior machine. You just thought it'd known that. Second of all, when we actually see the transformation of the robot, and if you pause it at 57:11, the actual kind of form that the Terminator takes, I think it looks terrible.
It looks more like an alien, doesn't it?
Yes, the face is kind of almost like concaved.
Yeah,
it is kind of alien shaped.
It's got
really
liquid over it, though, so
small.
it doesn't really need to look like anything. I was about to jump in and go, yeah, I can see what you mean, because Arnold looks very much like the endoskeleton. You could imagine that you could hide that within his body. But this, I guess, it doesn't really matter because it's liquid on the outside. I think, it's just lack of imagination. I think
just looks bad.
They couldn't beat the liquid metal Terminator idea. So we're like, I know, we'll have a skeleton with liquid on it. You're like, why? That's silly. What's
that? Get rid of it.
That's back a step, isn't it? No, Ethan, because the TX can form complex machines like a hand. You know what would have been better? If Arnold would have arrived, shot the fiance, she'd go, no!
That would have been better.
And then the fiance gets up and then turns into the TX.
Also, it's so funny how all of this happens all in the same time so that the Terminator can save her.
Well, it is a movie, Ellie.
I would have thought that the TX would have been aware that there was a hearse speedily driving towards her and that the Terminator was in there. Therefore, she would have shot them first with her laser gun thing. Yes. Then she would have been able to get Brewster. So again, big faux pas there.
Well, here's one for you. During the cemetery scene, which begins this scene, when the Terminator is shooting up the SWAT team, and his little computer readout's going, this is how many rounds you've fired, what's been damaged, what's not been damaged, no human casualties. Some of the names that come up in his internal feed are the names of the members of the visual effects department.
That's awesome.
That's an Easter egg. Not really, because it's nothing you can actually pick up on unless you knew that bit of trivia.
Just in case they don't know, and I'm sure they will, what's an Easter egg, Ethan?
Well, back in the old film days, they'd just call it an in-joke.
So why did they change it to Easter egg?
An obvious one being Christopher Lee in Gremlins 2, when they inject the gremlin with
Rest
the
in
bat
peace,
DNA and he turns into a bat. Some like organy type music comes up and Christopher Lee just goes, huh? As obviously referencing the fact that he played Dracula, who turns into a bat in the old Hammer movies. That would have been an in-joke. If you were aware of those films, you go, and give yourself a little punch in the shoulder. You go, yeah, well done. I got that. I got that joke. You know? Sadly, I think there's too much Easter egginess going on in film, television, and trailers now.
The ones in Marvel movies are great though.
They're okay, but they go to an even, like, when you get to Guardians of the Galaxy and you go into the collector's kind of boudoir.
We saw the collector's boudoir at the end of Thor 2.
Yes, Benicio del Toro plays the collector, and he's basically got this
Is he
room.
meant to be Japanese?
With, he's meant to be an alien.
But the accent he was talking in, he kind of sounded a bit Japanese.
He's meant to be from space.
Space Jap.
But he's got one of everything in the Marvel universe generally. So they bring the Infinity Stone, the Tesseract.
The gem that will then go in the.
That was it the space gem, the red one, the ether.
No, it was blue.
Was it the
was
mind
a blue
gem?
Cube.
No, that's the one from Captain America. That's the Tesseract.
Oh, yeah, that is that one.
That's from Avengers and Captain America.
Yeah.
From Thor 2 was the ether.
Yeah, it was the red one.
And when it was consolidated into but I think they gave that to the collector, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, Loki's scepter, which is the mind gem, which turns people evil at his request.
Mm-hmm.
That was the mind
green
gem
one.
that was kept in
No, blue.
blue. Anthony Hopkins' Chamber of Treasures, whatever he was called.
Sounds a bit rude.
Hello, I'm Anthony Hopkins, and welcome to my Chamber of Treasures.
However, I would not recommend you delve into Ethan's Chamber of Treasures. Yeah, so Terminator turns up, blows the TX to smithereens.
Which is the opposite of what the TX did to the director to get the part.
Blow it! So she smashes into a headstone.
Which looks really fake.
Which looks really fake.
In
Which is
CGI
made out of
terms.
pure concrete, and it's pretty hefty. And then when she gets back up and she starts running, there's absolutely no external damage whatsoever.
No. Remember, well, you've got the liquid metal on the top is a kind of a protective shell of sorts, so you have to bear that in mind.
I don't know. Yeah, but you'd have thought there'd be more. I mean, yeah, she'd be able to form herself back together again. But initially, I mean, you know, when they get shot, you see the holes, and then it slowly just kind of goes and goes back to normal. I would have thought there'd be a bit more external damage initially on her, considering she smashed into a gravestone.
Yeah, there would, but I mean, it's
I don't know.
it's kind of a film, isn't it? Here's one for Spalding, who wrote in this episode. On the Terminator's display, when he's seeing the readout, as I just mentioned, when he's shot up the SWAT team and
Look
stuff,
at that.
it only shows that he's fired 760 rounds. Well, I'm not a gun expert, but I'm sure you'd have
Spaldner, listen closely.
you'd have surpassed and eclipsed that amount by the
How
time you shot up
many
the police officers.
Would you hazard a guess? Would you say was shot in that particular scene, Spaldner? I wish there was a way we could.
Well, no,
actually
he would know the output.
He's so smart.
No, but he would know the output of that kind of gun, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
So
totally. That's why I'm asking.
you
I'm
could
reaching
probably
out
think
to
at that
you,
amount of
James.
time, if you're literally just firing out a clip. Well, I mean, in real life terms, you wouldn't have enough bullets. It's almost like Blaine's gun in Predator. It looks amazing and it's very comic book.
Oh, the Gatling gun.
But literally, I've seen those fired on YouTube clips, and they've got that pack full of ammo, or that amount, and it literally just goes, and it's done. It's even in the making of Predator. The amount he has on his back, theoretically, that feed would have gone through in like 12 seconds, probably even less.
No, they took the whole bloody jungle apart.
Yeah. You'd have to have rooms full of
that
ammo.
really frustrated me when I watched that, when he's just firing into nothing. It's like, well done, mate, you just wasted all.
Yeah, but he
your bullets.
thinks he sees a ghost and his friends chopped in half practically.
Yeah, but you can't shoot a ghost, can you?
Those eyes, they disappeared. What was that? Those eyes, they
Did this
disappeared.
to us?
Mac!
Mac!
Sergeant!
And then the final thing I wanted to say, is it the final thing?
Welcome to Predator Minute.
Yeah, two things I want to say. I thought it was quite funny that now all of a sudden she runs. Lazy. And it is a homage to Terminator 2, when they first break Sarah out of the hospital and they're driving out. and the T-1000 is running off the car, which will forever remind me of South Park Simpsons now. Homer Simpson with the golf clubs. I thought that this was pretty much exactly the same. So you've got her just running off the car.
Well, she makes it successfully to the hearse or the car, as it were.
We don't see that in this 2 minutes.
But we'll in the next 2 minutes, which sets us up for our next episode. But before we sign off, during the filming of the cemetery scene with Scott Mason / Peterson, because they changed the bloody character's name weirdly, he's Scott Mason in the film, but Scott Peterson in the credits.
So that's a cock up.
Yeah.
That is a cock up.
We covered it in the first 2 episodes, so I can't remember.
Doesn't matter.
What
It's
it was.
more relevant now.
Should I be? Scott Peterson / Mason morphs into the TX. Both actors were filmed performing the same motions and blended to create the effect. While filming, Mark Famiglietti, who plays Scott Mason / Peterson, had to wear large platform shoes because Christina Locum was so much taller than he is.
Lanky lesbian.
Yeah, ich liebe dich.
Nice.
Ja,
I love you in German.
ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
I thought it was lesbian. Oh. Ich liebe dich. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we shall be back with another episode, which will be episode 30 of the 2 Minute Terminator. We're actually halfway through Terminator 3
You said
now.
this to me earlier. I was absolutely flabbergasted.
Well, the reason we're kind of rattling through them is because we're trying to get them out of the way. So we should be done with all this by the mid to late summer, probably the midsummer,
Dude,
if we commit.
remember how much our listeners, aka Spaldner and John, love this show. So you're saying, you know, we're trying to get through this as quickly as possible. You have to be careful, man. You've got to be sensitive.
I know, but I'm
They live for this show.
While work is sparse right now and I don't have an agent, I'm using this time to just pump out episodes and try and get content out there.
And his love gun.
The question that obviously does remain is, do you do another podcast? Do you continue the 2 Minute Terminator podcast with all of the films of Arnold Schwarzenegger at 2 minutes at a time? Or do you completely change the name and launch something else? Because weirdly, the problem, I would have thought this would be a no-brainer. There's so many 1 minute podcasts out there now. There's actually only 3 Terminator podcasts, and the other 2 lasted a few episodes and then folded. So we're
Really?
Yeah.
How many episodes in did they fold?
I think one went till about 2011. I think one went to 2013, but they literally didn't. They lasted within a year, and they didn't go for very many episodes. I suppose you come up against it when you don't realise it's not caught the hearts and minds of the people, and you think, well, what's the point in keep doing this? Also, the franchise itself, I guess it doesn't have that rich mythology to say that maybe Star Wars or Star Trek or any other things. Or Lord of the Rings have, obviously, because it hasn't been as popular. There is supplementary material. There is the comic books. There's toys. There's games. There's models. Yeah, okay, but ultimately, the main guy that actually created James Cameron jumped ship after Terminator 2. He said all he needed to say, and he's gone on to do, arguably bigger and better films. So, it's tough. But yeah, no, I don't know.
He says whilst adjusting his belt line.
Arnold films. Do you do the Arnold Schwarzenegger 2 minute?
I want to do a sex podcast first.
2 minute Schwartzy. But this has kind of been your sex podcast, though.
No, not especially not this.
All the
not this one.
all the horrific filth that has happened in your life has come out on this show.
Yeah, but you call me up and you start asking me these questions, and then you hit record, and then I get exposed. On this particular season, on the first
it was
two,
the biggest one I've ever seen in my life. Hi, this is 2 Minute Terminator.
Bastard. Anyway, that's everything I've got on this particular 2 minutes.
Well, if you led a quiet, sedentary, and blameless life like I have, you wouldn't have any of those weird things to say, would you, Ellie?
You're the wrongest one out of everyone I know.
I know. I was wrong to start this podcast with you.
Oh my god. Anyway, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for listening. We shall return, of course, with episode 30, which is the 2 Minute Terminator. So yeah, stay tuned.
I've been Ethan McKinley.
I've been Ellie Fitzgerald.
And you've been listening to the
T32T. Hit the music.
We missed every single.
Hit the off button.
Elbows.
Elbows. Yeah, beat you to it.
Watch out for machines. They're unstoppable. Watch out for machines. I'll be back.